Hello, welcome back to the Self-Worth Club podcast. I'm your host, Zoe. Today is a special episode. So, if you are a regular listener, you're used to hearing me talk about very specific topics as they relate to your self-worth and giving you tangible tips and advice on these specific things, keeping them short and sweet, right? But today I'm coming to you really without a topic. I had someone ask me this question, and I've had multiple people in the recent past ask me more about my journey and how I've gotten to where I am. And like I said, I usually have very specific topics that I keep short and sweet and tangible, and I don't talk a lot about myself, but today I am. Today is going to be about my journey and what self-worth means to me. And so specifically, I had someone ask, like, can you do an episode on your self-worth aha moments? Maybe talk about like bad jobs that you were involved in, dating horror stories, and how you got to the point of acknowledging your self-worth instead and started moving forward, started moving accordingly. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about journeys of self-discovery, of self-worth. And so I just talked about this on an interview earlier last week. And it's where I think my journey really started to skyrocket with self-worth and realizing that, I needed to start shifting things. And that was 2019. So I've always been the type of person, to give you some background, that just goes for it and does what they want and just really tries to make things happen. With that being said, I was aiming myself in a totally different direction than I am now for a long time. So since high school, I decided like I want to open a bakery. Early high school, I was like, love to bake. I want to be my own boss. Let's open a bakery. Let's attach these two things. So I said, I'm going to go to culinary school. Well, then my dad's like, no, you need to get a degree. Like, let's go to college first. And then after that, you go to culinary school. So I went to UNC Charlotte, got my business degree. After that, I worked in a bakery downtown Charlotte, and I was a manager there. I also worked back of house in the bakery a couple days a week. And it was fun. It was fine. I was learning a lot, and I felt like it was very productive to my end goal, so that mattered a lot. I went through that. I was there for about a year. Then I went to culinary school. I moved abroad, lived in Paris for about 3 months, a little bit over, and absolutely loved it. It was a wonderful time. When I got home, I moved to Raleigh. I worked at another bakery here, and this is where my perspective shifted. I um I really got to watch the chef that owned that business work his butt off and just look so drained by it. And that was where I was like, oh, red flag, red flag, red flag, right? Like, I don't want to be the person who's here 24/7, who is drained like this and just like going through every single day exhausted. He was there way too much. And that was really where it clicked. Maybe I don't want to just like keep running forward and open a bakery as soon as possible because I don't want to be him, basically. He gave me that perspective of like, all right, this is where you're going. If you try to do this too soon, you're going to be stuck here 24/7 and you're going to be miserable because I know that's not what I want, right? So the more I was in that role and starting to realize that, at the same time, I had started an online business. So as I started to realize that, I then got the opportunity to start an online business, and this was in network marketing. It was something that I was super skeptical of at first, but then I met some really cool people and just kind of dove in. And then overlapping with those things, COVID happens. And so I had just started this online business. I was also working at the bakery, which again, I was super drained by. I was going to sleep at like 7 to wake up at 4 a.m. to be at work by 5 a.m. And then work till 1 p.m. And that was a cycle that was just so draining to me. then I started the online business, and I'm coming home every day from that job, and I'm working 24/7 on my business. Like, I was so amped up by it because this was more of the vision that I saw myself in, was owning a business online, running that, doing things for myself, just like I loved that feeling of like making it happen for myself, and I could see that there was like somewhere to go versus like with the bakery. I was like, oh, there's nowhere to go. I don't know like what I'm doing, and it felt so monotonous after a while. And so then it overlaps with COVID, and I get laid off from the bakery, and I'm like, now I'm going full force into this online business. And that's really where I was like just overdrive with my personal development and with my self-worth journey. And I started, throwing everything into the business, but also listening to podcasts nonstop, reading so many books, listening to audiobooks, exercising like crazy, like just all the things because I had so much time, right? We were all in lockdown. So I feel like in that time too, you either chose to, sit back and chill and be kind of like, all right, this is my rest period, or you were like, let's get it. Let's use this time to just like evolve. And so I chose that. And I mean, it was a wild time. I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about like my capacity for growth and for business and what I can do. And I will say I did burn out some. And it definitely taught me some lessons about like giving myself grace and gave me more clarity on like what I wanted to do, the kind of role I wanted to have, the kind of business I wanted to have, and what I loved. um it was really the stepping stone for me to realize like love online business, really good at marketing, love creating graphics and stuff like that, love videos, actually learned to love being on camera, because at first it was super awkward. I mean, anything you're doing for the first time is going to be awkward, it's going to be weird. The first graphics I created were absolute trash. Like, don't never want to look back at those again. No, but it gives you a good like perspective of like, everyone grows through these different things. So anyway, in that time, I started to realize like I really love all these things. Especially loved the aspect of getting to coach women. So with the online business, I was coaching women in sales, but more than that, I was coaching them in confidence. How to, get their message across, how to show up confidently on camera, um, how to believe in themselves enough to put the effort in, because that's hard for some people. You don't know for sure that something is going to work out. It's very scary, and you need to cultivate that belief in yourself. And so I started to learn like I absolutely love giving women the tools to grow in their own mindsets and their own belief in themselves, and get over limiting beliefs that they have, and start being nicer to themselves, and talk like that self-talk needs to improve, and here's how you do that. I was like loving that aspect of it. So fast forward, I'm doing that for a couple of years. And I won't leave you hanging with the bakery. I'll say that once COVID was over, I went back for a couple weeks. I was deep into the personal development mode, and there was a turning point that happened for me in the first couple of weeks I was back, where I had been going to work with an AirPod in one ear and listening to an audiobook. And the one I was listening to at the time of this story is Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone. And I every morning, it's 5 a.m. I'm in there literally staring at a wall, and I'm chopping vegetables. I'm doing nothing. No one wants to speak to each other at this time of the morning, and so we didn't. And I had one headphone in, and I would put my phone in a like big clear quart container on the counter. That's just what you do in restaurants and bakeries, most of the time, at least in my experience, is you put it away somewhere where it's, sanitary. It's in this cup, and you don't touch it, but you could see it if you need to. And so I had it on the counter, and I didn't lock it. And I had Be Obsessed or Be Average playing, and it had been playing in my ear all week long, right? I'm hyped. I'm in the middle of this book. And no one knew I was listening to it until I forget to lock my phone. I leave it on the counter, and Chef walks by, and it catches his eye, and he stops, and he's like, well, what are you doing? Are you watching Netflix or something? And I'm like, oh no. Like, I guess he saw the rolling banner and just thought that. So I'm like, no. again, super jazzed. I'm like, no, I'm listening to Be Obsessed or Be Average. If you've ever heard of Grant Cardone, it's about this. And I'm like so hyped. It's 5:30 in the morning. And he's like, what the hell? He's just like, okay, and just moves on. And I don't really think much of it because, again, I'm just so excited to be listening to this. I'm like, just like really into my thoughts, and I'm just doing what I need to do at work. I'm just getting it done. But I found something that actually helps me enjoy that time and it gives me a purpose. So about 10 minutes later, maybe less, he comes back by and he's like, listen, I would appreciate it if we didn't listen to audiobooks or like do anything like that while we're working. And I just felt like, ugh, like someone just slapped me in the face. Like, what the hell? What do you mean? Like, you didn't even know I was doing this for a week. It wasn't bothering anyone. I'm doing great work. I'm happier. It's not a hazard. Literally, no one's even speaking, and I could hear you if you were. I only have one in. It's on low. Like, all the things. I'm just like, what? I literally, like, left the room to go put something away and shed a few tears. I was like so frustrated. You're taking away this thing that's making it feel like I'm actually being even more productive. There's a purpose to what I'm doing besides just making these freaking salads or putting together these sandwiches for the bakery. And now you're saying I can't do it when you didn't even know it was happening? Like, what? Again, it's hurting no one. It's not a hazard. It's not a health thing. It's literally nothing. And so that was where I was like, all right. I went home. I talked to Noah, my husband, and I was like, I'm outie. I gotta figure out how to make this business work full time because that was my other source of income, and I can't be there anymore. It's draining the life out of me. I also hated the fact that I had to go to sleep at like 7:30 p.m. to get up at 4 a.m. Like, that was a terrible schedule. Made me miserable. Made me feel like I was missing out on so many things. Because I had to go to bed so early. So, yeah, I decided to quit the bakery. I put in a month's notice because I was like, this will give me some extra time to like ramp things up with the business. At the same time, it'll give him time to find a replacement. At the end of that, he still asked for a whole week extra of my time. Literally at the very end. I had like 2 days left till the month was up. And I was done, and I was so excited. And he's like, actually, can you work for one more week? I said, no, sorry, no, you had way more time than is, appropriate. Like, people usually give 2 weeks. I gave 4. So, yeah, I said hard pass to that, sorry, but gotta go for my own sanity. Dove deeper into the business, and I want to say I did that for another couple years, and I was making it work, but there was something about it that just didn't align. And again, I was so excited about teaching women to just feel more powerful and empowered by themselves and their thoughts and what they're doing, and like be confident and have that self-worth. And so I made another shift, and I was like, let's just go into coaching. Forget sales, forget the rest of this. Like, I don't really like that. Here's what I love. Like, let's attach to that. Here's what I'm good at. Here's what I love. And so I gave life to coaching. And now I've been coaching on its own separately from that for over a year, like a year and a half now of just doing it solo. Again, it's been more like 4 years of coaching women, but I'm just coaching on what I love to coach on and giving all of my energy to this. And it has been so amazing. And I will say, like, I'm not the type of person that's going to tell you, like, I know absolutely everything. I'm not coaching you on, everything under the sun. I know what I'm good at. I know what I've learned from personal experience. And so I coach from that place. I coach from the place of like, I improved this with my life, this with my mindset, this with myself. And I'm going to teach you how to do it in the same ways that I learned. I'm going to let you know what tips and advice have been helpful for me and give it to you that way, because like, I think it's so much better and like more absorbed myself when I learn from someone who's teaching from experience and not acting like they just know it all. And also with that, just teaching from the point of like your best friend giving you advice, right? Because it's more relatable. And so I hope you get that vibe from me when you listen to the podcast. And if you've done like any of my coaching programs or anything like that, that's what I try to be for you, is just like someone who gives you very practical advice, tells you what you need to hear, but also does it with love and does it with a lot of intention and authenticity. And so, yeah, that's really how my self-worth journey evolved to where it is now. And in this past like year and a half of just focusing solely on coaching and these specific subjects like self-worth, boundaries, relationships, habits, routines, that sort of thing, uh I have learned tenfold. I mean, I'm still always listening to podcasts. I have an audiobook going at all times. I'm in deeper conversations with the people in my life, with my friends. I'm connecting with people on social media who want to have these empowering and really like purpose driven conversations. And when you just approach every day of like, what can I learn today? You know, what's new? Um, it really helps you just like keep growing and growing at like a rapid pace. And something I talked about on a podcast interview earlier, like literally an hour ago, was your journey is never ending, right? There's not an ending. Don't put an end cap on your self-worth journey. You're not going to get to this place where it's like, "Oh, I have nothing to work on. I've made it. I'm here." Like, I will say you get to a place where you feel more peaceful, right? You feel fulfilled. You understand that like this is a journey. You're ever evolving. Your routines will always evolve. Your habits will always change. You'll need to be adaptable. You have to give yourself grace. When you learn all of those little things and when you start to gain more control over your own inner critic, your voice, like when you get control of all of those things, then you start to feel this inner peace that's like, okay, yeah, I have made it in some aspects, but you also have peace with the fact that the journey is never ending. And so you can find more fulfillment in every single day. And that is a huge part of why I coach and what I try to get across in all of the podcast episodes and all of my courses and stuff like that, is just like helping you find purpose and joy in right now, and giving you the tools to grow and evolve and continuously remind you that things are just always changing. You're ever evolving, and so will all of the different things you want in your life and the way you approach things and the jobs you have and whatnot. And so, yeah, I just want to give you that reminder of like, you know, even myself, like, ask the person asked me, like, what was your self worth aha moment? It was more of like years. It wasn't an aha moment, it was years in the making. Um, and something I've just like continuously grown through. And overall, like, I'll take you back to just be curious. Focus on like always learning and seeking out new ways to do things and um, looking for ways to cultivate more self-awareness. That is your biggest tool, is self-awareness. Seriously, if you can just tune into what you want and your intuition and your gut feeling, and continuously like ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want out of today? What do I want out of this week, this month, this year? Like, and then create small action plans to get you there, you're going to be unstoppable and you are going to find that fulfilled feeling in what you're doing. And so, yeah, a little bit about me, a little bit about my journey to how I got to where I am now in my coaching. And, you know, there's been so many periods of my life where I was in these mindsets of like modes of wanting to protect myself, wanting to be super independent, wanting to do everything for myself. And um, that was big for me in high school. I guess my point here is I just wanted to give you some more background on me. But I still go through phases where I'm like, okay, I've learned that this is a trigger for me. This is something I haven't really like explored yet. And I just wanted to emphasize for you, like, as you go through this, like, things will continuously pop up. There will be cycles where you feel like drained in what you're doing, like the purpose kind of gets away from you, and you have to like reevaluate, but that's normal. Don't think that anyone is like completely healed, done doing the work, no more this, no more that, no more evaluating, because that's never the case. We're always figuring things out. We're always reevaluating, reassessing, and learning and growing. And that's great. I hope you can find peace in knowing that you're not alone in your journey ever. And that you can find so much fulfillment and feel so grounded in where you are in this moment, even if it's not where you want to be ultimately. And that's the point of all of this, right? Is to just find joy and fulfillment in every single day, because all you really have is this current moment. The only thing that exists is right here, right now, you listening to this. And so, yeah, just keep that in mind. I hope you got some little gems from listening to a bit of my journey. And I want you to know, if you have any questions, if you have any topics that you want me to cover, I am all ears. I do this for the people who listen. I do this for the purpose of giving some like free, super tangible value to you. And so use it. If you have questions about my journey, or you just want to talk about a totally different topic, you want my take on it, you want my advice on it, I would love to hear it. You can DM me on Instagram at Zoe Borntrager, or you can comment or leave me a review. I love to hear your feedback. It keeps me going, and you'd be surprised to know I do not hear much. I really don't. So, whenever I do get the chance to hear from someone who's listening and hear how something I've said has impacted you, it completely makes my day, my week, and it keeps me recording episodes for you. I've been doing this for a year now. And I will say, like, what you see in my Instagram highlight of like podcast like reviews, that's literally everything. So doing it for a year, I feel like I haven't heard much from you guys. But I'm hoping that changes. Sincerely want to have more conversations and just like, have that relationship with you guys who listen to the podcast. So don't be afraid to reach out. Let me know how you feel, what you think. I appreciate you for being here and listening regardless. And I will talk to you soon.